You've heard it correctly. Resident Evil 9 has actually been announced at the Summer Game Fest. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, and we've also just plainly been baited. I don't think I want to look at this, so I'm just gonna lay here and cry. I think I'm gonna lay here and cry. That's what I think I'm going to do. Many tears has been shed when I reacted to the broadcast, and let's just say that Capcom knows how to play with your expectations during a show.
Welcome to Nest. Enjoy your visit.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Nest. And I can't believe I'm finally saying this, but today we're going to dive on into a trailer analysis for Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So let's get into this video, but before we do, if you are new here, just consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video to push us on out into that YouTube algorithm. Man, I am so hyped right now. So it appears that we open up at an FBI headquarters. We see a very important person walking down the hallway, and people treating him with the respect of the person of his stature. The man does walk right past a board of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. It is too blurry to see if there are any significant characters, but I wouldn't rule out saying there aren't any. The man continues to walk through the office building as he approaches this woman. This woman's cubicle is absolutely cluttered with work materials like books, papers, maps, and desk contents. Much like the board, most of these faces are unidentifiable and unknown people, except for one. I just want to say, I've been thinking about this since I first saw the trailer, but I believe this shot in the top left corner is indeed an image of Oswell Spencer. Do I have proof? No. That's just my theory. Oswell has something to do with Resident Evil 9 Requiem, whether in refabricated life or in death. But again, I might be wrong. This woman belongs to the FBI, and she is writing an FBI summary report on the latest unidentified disease. It says, Incident, 4th victim of unidentified disease. The deceased individual was discovered at an abandoned government office. Preliminary analysis suggests the deceased may be linked to a series of... And it just cuts off right there. So Capcom seemingly won't be telling us what this virus is anytime soon. But rest assured that this will be a brand new virus. We don't have any information about this new virus other than these 3 images. So this virus is currently going on with very, very little casualties. The first image entails an infected corpse laying on the ground in a forest surrounded by 2 hazmat-suited people. The middle image has a fallen body also in a forest trail setting. The pose sorta reminds me of the 2 shots of Ethan Winters' corpse we saw in Resident Evil 7 Biohazard and Resident Evil 8 Village. The final image is a close-up of an infected's face, and if we look closely, we'd notice this virus does start eating at your flesh, because no way in hell is this dirt on his face. But once again, the ground does feel like another forest trail. So there's definitely something scary and mysterious about this forest picking off people one by one. I'm almost willing to guess that according to this cutoff linked to a series of, almost suggests that this new virus has links to a series of other viruses it might be typed out as, with a known database of the G virus, T virus, and C virus. And honestly, I could definitely see the FBI classify this strain as maybe the Q virus or even the B virus. The man eventually reaches the woman's cubicle and reveals her name as Grace Ashcroft, knocking on her cubicle demanding to see her in his office immediately. Grace's voice sounds very familiar when she speaks here. I'm almost willing to bet this is Genevieve Buchner behind Grace's voice. For those who don't know, she's also the voice of Ashley Graham in Resident Evil 4 Remake. Back on track, Grace grabs her folder, but ends up knocking a pile of books over. With no time to pick them up, she rushes over to the man's office. She enters his office and immediately brings up if this is about the report he's asked for, it'll be ready in 2 days. The man commands her to hold that report because another body has been discovered. Another corpse that demonstrates the exact same pathology as the other 3 investigated. It is here where the man reveals that Grace is a brilliant technical analyst, and he's putting her on this case. the man takes a folder detailing a crime scene of something called the Wrenwood Hotel incident. This shot reveals the man's name as Nathan Dempsey, a special agent in charge, meaning Nathan operates this division of the FBI. Within the Wrenwood Hotel, Grace's mother was murdered. It is mentioned by Nathan that Grace's mother, Alyssa, died 8 years ago, meaning if this game does in fact follow the Resident Evil trend of having games take place in their release date years, then Resident Evil 9 Requiem takes place in 2026, and Alyssa Ashcroft has died in 2018. 2 years after writing a news article detailing the missing persons case that took place in Dulvey, Louisiana, within the Baker estate, long before Ethan ever stepped foot into their home. Eventually though, in 2018, Alyssa was investigating the Wrenwood Hotel and ended up getting killed on the field. Alyssa was a news reporter as seen in Resident Evil Outbreak and Resident Evil Outbreak File Number 2. Nathan sees now as the best time for Grace to face her past. And I find that very interesting because seemingly what I'm picking up from this trailer is that I believe Resident Evil 9 Requiem is all about facing the past and future simultaneously, because later in this trailer it's revealed that we just may travel upon the ruins of Raccoon City and the Wrenwood Hotel several years in the future during 2026. While Nathan is speaking, we see that Grace is experiencing various flashbacks to horrific events most likely taken place within the Wrenwood Hotel. This flashback details a basement-like setting with a blurry figure standing at the end of the hall. The place does feel all scuffed up. On the other side, we do see some key items painted in yellow, a wooden plank, and these two smaller cubes. The next flashback is a very interesting one, showcasing two shots of Alyssa in the RE engine style. So these shots were very fascinating to see a never-seen-before classic spin-off character in the modern RE engine style after all this time. Next we see this flashback of this hooded man wearing a dark hoodie, only showing his mouth and chin. Another flashback of Alyssa and her cameraman running down a hallway, seemingly being chased. On the other hand, the final flashbacks detail a lot. A shot of this building here, it is unclear if this is the Wrenwood Hotel. A shot of this room with a bed, phone, and a bed littered with items overflown from these sacks. A shot of two mysterious people overlooking the perspective, and a shot running towards a door identified as room 201. The trailer then uses a black screen to cut to Grace being tied up upside down to what I believe is a hospital bed, which would be interesting since Resident Evil Outbreak did showcase a hospital. Grace does end up screaming for help while tied up. The interesting thing is she doesn't just scream help, she screams hey, help. Hey! Help! This may imply that there's someone else in this room, as it does appear she's not blissfully shouting into the darkness, but to someone she sees directly. From here, we cut to an ominous shot of a hallway, which reminds me a lot of that particular first hallway that Jack Baker chases Ethan down. Here, however, the wind blows the white curtains and light fixture as a mysterious female voice says, "Stay close." Stay close. A wall is showcased here featuring several missing persons, and it focuses on these 3 to 4 people in general, which we'll definitely find out more information about in near time when the game comes out. The female voice continues saying, "They're coming. They're coming." As we then see this dimly lit shot of the brand new antagonist. He is sitting on a fancy chair overlooking his fireplace next to a phonograph. The antagonist does appear to have long hair, similar to Loki from the Marvel Universe, alongside with a dark gray or black trench coat with gloves, which definitely reminds me of Albert Wesker from Resident Evil 5. We zoom out and see a bit more of the room with the lights off, covered up couches, dead plants, and a dirty floor. These curtains as well are also the same curtains as featured in Castle Damatrascu. All while the antagonist states, "I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. A special one. The chosen one, Miss Ashcroft."
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
So it appears that whoever this antagonist is has been searching for years over the whereabouts of Alyssa's daughter, Grace, and he's finally found her. And the walls come crumbling down because it appears that we make our triumphant return to the ruins of Raccoon City, because we transition to an overlook of the remains of the city after the bombing. And I find it interesting that the antagonist mentions finally locating Grace, and it then showcases Raccoon City. My guess is that Grace was sent to the ruins of Raccoon City to investigate further into the remains of the Wrenwood Hotel and find out the truth about her mother's death, dig up clues about the new virus, and put an end to it before it massively spreads. Plus, I'm sure the new virus has probably sprung from the ruins of Raccoon City, because that just makes sense after all. Think about it, an infected city after being bombed? Perhaps the antagonist has figured out a way to scrape the remains of the virus's remnants and create his own virus. So I believe that the antagonist has been lurking around these ruins for several years, collecting information to create a virus, trying to find any remaining Ashcroft, but he finally sees Grace as she travels through Raccoon City. But anyway, yeah, this is 99% what used to be Raccoon City, especially when you look right over here. That very likely may be the impact of the missiles launched by the government by the ending of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and Resident Evil 3 Remake. It is here where we're introduced to more mysterious voices. 2 male voices and that same female voice from earlier. The first male voice says, "Investigating all of these strange deaths, huh?"
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
The female voice continues, "We need to keep our voices down."
We need to keep our voices down.
And the secondary male voice narrates, "Have you seen the same shit I've seen?"
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
While these voices are speaking, we pan through 2 shots of Raccoon City. This one here, I absolutely love the apocalyptic vibe. The sky has a feeling of uncertainty overlooking the remains of this highway, and a lot with some abandoned cars. And I've seen a lot of people theorize that the first male and female voice we hear during this shot belong to an older Leon Kennedy and Jill Valentine, which, honestly, the way these two speak, I can tell this is Leon and Jill's tone and style of speech. Plus, it feels exactly what these two would say. So, as we're predicting, this voice may belong to the long-awaited, older and gritty Leon, who seemingly is also investigating these deaths. And this does make sense because Leon had belonged to the Division of Security Operations. Is he still? Maybe, maybe not. But if not, you and I both know, similar to Death Island, Leon would go rogue and solo to investigate for himself, even as an older man. From the here of it, Jill may also be here too. Jill, on the other hand, won't look extraordinarily older because Jill has a special case when it comes to aging. Does she use special face cream? Maybe. Maybe not. The effects the T-virus and cures had on her body amounted to an effect where she ages very slowly, so I personally hope to see Jill's character model look a lot like Death Island's, an absolute glow-up since Resident Evil 3 Remake. I also hope her personality from Death Island remains through Resident Evil 9 Requiem. The secondary male voice is an interesting one, and shout out to my brother for this one. He came up with a theory that this voice may belong to the son of deceased Lieutenant Marvin Branagh. From what I know, it's never mentioned that Marvin had any children, but if my brother's theory does come to fruition, I feel like that'd be incredible. Instances of 2 people returning to the very city where their parents had fallen from. This very shot will go down in history as we begin panning towards the ruins of Raccoon City Police Department. 2 different female voices can be heard narrating, "Please know that you are my hope."
Please know that you are my hope.
And the other, "Everyone's gone."
Everyone's gone.
Oh my god, guys. Look at this wiped out sign. The D from RPD is long gone, and the Raccoon City Police sign is completely rusted that you can barely read what it says. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the exterior of the ruins of the police department. Most of the roof and windows have been blown out from the explosion. There's cars piled up much like how Resident Evil 2 Remake showcased. And look at that gate. I can only imagine Grace struggling to open up this rusted gate. So let's go inside and take a look at the lobby. Straight out of Resident Evil 2 Remake, but completely destroyed from the missile strike. The pillars are broken, the flag is withered, everything looks untouched and raggedy. We have the desk and all of its contents. And check out the statue of the flying goddess. It's absolutely decimated. Once I saw this statue, I knew exactly this was Resident Evil's grand return.
Everyone's gone.
Wait a minute! Wait, what is this? Wait! That statue! I literally cannot wait to free roam these creepy empty halls. The trailer starts to wrap up, showcasing some civilians in danger. This one is bleeding from a brutal wound, crawling on the floor away from the stairs, shouting, "Stay away from her." This shot has an interesting feature with this unidentified object appearing on the left for 1 second. It is unclear what this being is, but it is seen to move on its own. We return to another hallway, seemingly in the same setting as this earlier shot. There is a monster crawling from the ceiling, latching onto the floor. Resident Evil sure loves its statues, and speaking of which, we see one directly down this hallway, so I wonder what this is for. Remember that man in the hoodie from Grace's haunting flashbacks? Yeah, it appears that that man is here, putting a plastic bag over this man's head, in turn suffocating him. So I'm starting to wonder if these last few scenes are from Alyssa's perspective in the past. And maybe we get to play as her? From the looks of it, this may be another zombie cop. It is unclear, but it looks like this zombie is holding a shotgun in his right hand. Afterwards is a shot of this unidentified person walking towards these wooden doors. It is unclear where this setting takes place, whether this is Raccoon City Police Department in the past, or even a look at Renwood Hotel. This might even be another mansion of the sorts. And just like that, we end off with a little jump scare by a zombie as we see the logo beginning to materialize. Requiem, RE9. And finally, Resident Evil, Requiem. I do find this fashion very interesting, with the sudden randomizes from capitals to lowercases, the letter Q turning into the number 9, as well as the seemingly dual capitalization of RE when the logo begins to materialize, ending off with our confirmed release date of February 27th, 2026. So that's the long-awaited Resident Evil 9 trailer, guys. I was thinking of something interesting. So we know that this game is called Requiem, and that word is a sort of fancy term for the word remember. So I find this to strongly add up, as this game will be remembering the original Outbreak, while returning to the scene of the crime several years later, from the lens of a woman who is a requiem of her mother. I also believe that we'll be seeing returning characters, as I've mentioned earlier, characters like Leon Kennedy, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and some other characters may be remembering their old city while standing in its ashes. So basically a lot of remembrance of the past from the future will be going on. And as a small side note, I also find it interesting that this isn't the first time Resident Evil has used the word Requiem. Resident Evil 6 indeed has a mercenaries map titled Requiem of War, as that map symbolizes remembrance of the fallen souls who served in the Edonian Civil War. That took place 6 months prior to the Langxiong bioterror incident. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, just consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, tell me what you thought. What are your thoughts about the trailer? And did this make you more or less excited for Resident Evil 9? Expect a lot more Requiem videos in the future. Discussions, theories, wish lists, reactions, and more news videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.